need my love, baby, oh so bad. You're not the only one I've ever had. And if I say I want to set you free.
Good morning. It's Monday, June 20th. Welcome. It's Cliff Potts again. Don't have a hell of a lot to report to you today. I'll try to touch on a couple of issues, one of which was brought to my attention by the Race Mixer. We have the Idaho State Senator, John McGee, who spent his Father's Day in jail. According to the report out of the Mail Online by, and it just says Mail Online reporter, Mr. McGee, a past Republican legislator of the year, is accused of taking an SUV with a 20-foot cargo trailer attached from a Boise area home of a complete stranger after an evening of drinking at a golf course clubhouse. And I'll post the details. Now, the question was asked, can I explain how low the U.S. is going to go before dealing with this? Well, it's a minor point, I will grant you, but this is basically local news to Idaho. I'm not saying that some of the folks that we have in Washington, D.C. aren't capable of this, but it is still an Idaho issue, and I'm presuming that eventually the folks in Idaho are going to be taking a good hard look at this. Now, if you remember, back in 2006, those of you who bothered to read it, Conspirators, Confederates, and Cronies, I pointed out that it looked like the neoconservatives, radical right, call them whatever you want. I tried various titles in that book for them. It all ended up coming out sounding like it was anti-Christian, so we had to soften the tone a little. Of course, that's off track. Anyway, I told you, it looked like the Republicans were basically scraping the bottom of the barrel in order to find people that fit the model for the right. Well, this is what you're coming up with. Of course, you know, Warner, whatever his name is, was a Democrat, so kind of shows a little bit on both sides. But there's a sidebar in this story that I find interesting. Republican Chris Lee resigned after he texted a shirtless picture of himself to a woman he met on Craigslist. Shirtless picture of himself on Craigslist. What is it with people today? Am I missing something here? It used to be completely, well, not acceptable, I guess, but not unacceptable. Men prance around without shirts on. It's, you know, it's just the way it is. At least it was when I was growing up. Now all of a sudden it's some kind of horrendous sexual thing. Hell, I even did a video, 2-3 weeks ago? You know, from here up, no shirt, which I didn't have a shirt on at the time. I was getting ready to go to the pool. And, you know, that's somehow a scathing, sexual, what's the word I'm looking for, controversy? You know, I think our media is looking for a thing, our media, all the media, the entire world's media, from what I can see here, is looking for things to blow out of proportion. Just my take on it. Anything to keep from dealing with the real issues that are facing the entire population of the planet, especially the Western world, and especially the United States. I know that sounds somewhat narcissistic, but we're doing everything we can not to cover the real issues, because the real issues are complicated. And the real issues are not going to have a quick and easy fix. And I, for one, don't think that the real issues are going to be solved anytime soon. I got into a discussion yesterday on Facebook with somebody. I won't pull the whole thing up. It basically boiled down to revolution is all fine and dandy as long as you know where you're going when it's over. From what studies I've done of revolutions, I have yet to see a single revolution that ended up with what they started out with. What usually happens is the situation becomes so untenable that people strike out. They have an idea what they want, but they don't always get it, because in the power vacuum somebody steps in and strangles what's going on. How to put that? They subvert the cause to a different direction than what they originally had. This is not, even in the American Revolution, the American Civil War against the British, because at the time, I told you this before, we were British citizens, so that constitutes a civil war. Even in the American Revolution, what we ended up with as a government, prior to the constitutional government we now have, was a confederacy. And it didn't work because it did not have a central government that was strong enough to keep the states in line. This became an issue in the Second American Civil War, what we call the Civil War, where it was a matter of who controlled what the states did based on the Constitution of the United States. Now, there are those who say it wasn't about slavery. Yeah, it actually was. And I'm not saying that because I'm stupid, so back off. I'm telling you that because that's what half of the states that seceded from the United States in the Civil War stated in their own documentation, that it was the issue of slavery that was causing them to secede. So, you really do have to go back to those documentations. So, where does that bring us at today? Not a hell of a lot. We still have issues going on here that are not being addressed while we oogle things like, let's see, what do we got here? We have Jennifer Lopez's embarrassing wardrobe malfunction. Excuse me. She's got breasts and nipples. Oh, gee. Kind of cute, too, by the way. And, of course, we have, going back to Chris Lee resigning because he sent a shirtless picture of himself to somebody on Craigslist. Okay. Sorry, guys. A lot of this stuff is nonsense. It's just plain and simple nonsense. It's smoke and mirrors. It's dog and pony show. Anything to keep from dealing with the real issues. The real issues are what's happening to the economy of the world. An economy that is based mostly on paper and digits in an electronic spreadsheet, not on real value. At least that's my take on it. No expert. Whatever expertise I had ended a long time ago. Anyway, that is it for now. Mostly what I'm doing today is checking in. I am still looking for work, and I have another small extension on my unemployment, which is getting thinner and thinner all the time. And I am still holding my own in Chicago. Barely. And I think even that might be a misstatement. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for your time. May your God go with you. I will talk to you later.
Don't you know you'll be in misery?